Shalom from Jerusalem. My name is Albert Veksler. I'm the director of Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast, and we are here with answers for allies. With me is my good friend, Matan Kahana, Knesset member, combat unit fighter, F-16 squadron commander. I always like to say a legend. You don't like this, I know.
Well, I believe it's becoming
It's becoming a legend now.
No,
okay.
It's not.
So,
it's becoming something that we will speak about it every time. So.
Every time. So,
not a legend, not a hero.
Okay. Well, your sons are in the army, like my son is also called up. So how do you deal with everyday life? I mean, it's not easy.
I think that every family in Israel have someone from the family that is serving now in the battle. And of course, we are very worried for him and his friends. But we trust God. We trust God. We know that this war was forced on us. We didn't want this war, but we have to fight it and we have to win it. And again, we are praying to God that He will save our kids.
Save our sons. You have one boy in the... You have two boys?
Two boys that are in the army now.
Two are in the army, but one is... Okay, got you. Well, we don't speak about certain things, you know that, and so that's fine.
Yeah.
We are here today also because the army has, or the government actually has announced a ceasefire, temporary.
The government yesterday decided to have some kind of temporary ceasefire so we can have some kind of deal to rescue some of our hostages. I think that it's very important. We owe these people that are now in Gaza. We disappointed them once in the 7th of October, and we can't disappoint them again. We have to take every opportunity to bring back home as much as we can, as many as we can. And we have two aims to this war, and it's equal: to bring back the hostages and to finish the Hamas. And bring back the hostages is very important, and we must take every possible that we use. And killing the Hamas, we have time to do that.
Well, it is very difficult dilemma, I think, for the government to agree with these conditions that Hamas is setting. Was it 10 people or 40 people, or every time?
Actually, I don't know the terms yet. I believe that it's something like 50, and after that 10 per day of ceasefire.
Okay.
So if we will see that the Hamas is continue to bring hostages to Israel, so maybe we will continue with this kind of deal. But the most important thing is that after we will have all the hostages back home, we will continue this war until we eliminate the Hamas. The Hamas is pure evil, and we must fight it.
I understand that for Sinwar to give up the hostages is to give up his lifeline. He's giving up then his whole guarantee. So I think it will be very difficult in the end to get
true.
Him agree.
What you said, it's true. I believe that Sinwar know himself that he won't die peacefully in age of 120.
Well, you just made a video warning Europe, and let's watch it, and let's see, because I want to hear your thoughts about this video.
Okay.
Europe, wake up!
This is a wake-up call for Europe. Do you really think this war is about Israel? The massacre in Israeli towns, farming communities, and at a music festival on October 7th are a wake-up call for you. Nearly 500,000 people protested in London. More than 1,500 anti-Semitic incidents were registered in France in the last month alone. So let us be clear about this. These anti-Semitic acts are demonstrations in favor of Hamas ISIS. Demonstrations voicing support for those who murdered and raped, monsters who burned whole families alive. Demonstrations in favor of Hamas ISIS freedom fighters who cut open a pregnant mother's stomach to slaughter the baby inside. The same Hamas terrorists who on their murderous rampage slew more than 1,200 Israeli citizens and who are holding 240 people hostages, including babies, children, women, and Holocaust survivors. It is Hamas that uses the citizens of Gaza as human shields and hides weapons and bombs under hospitals and inside schools. Do you really think this is a war only against Israel? This is a war against the entire way of life of our Western democracies. Israel is on the front line of this war, the war that protects you from what's happening in your backyard. It's time to wake up before you too are forced to pay this dreadfully heavy price. Today it's us, tomorrow it's you. You better pray for our success.
Well, that was a really serious message, but I think it should be even said to the whole world, not just Europe.
Of course, not just to Europe, it's for the whole world. You know, the basic mistake of people like us, Western people with values of Judeo-Christian values, people who sanctify life, we have a basic mistake. The mistake is that we think that the radical Islamic is like us, that maybe they prefer a better life for their kids rather than killing us, Jews and Christians. But it's wrong. And we saw it in the barbaric attack of the 7th of October. We understand again that there are people in the world that's much more important for them to kill others than bringing good life to their kids. As Golda Meir said, she said, there will be peace in the days that the Muslims, the Arabs, will prefer better life for their kids rather than killing Jews. And it's not only Jews. It's some kind of religion war. It's a war of the pure evil against the righteousness of the Judeo-Christian sets of values. And people don't understand it. They think that it's something very far away from them. It's happening only in Israel. No, it's not. No, it's not. All what you have to watch is the demonstrations in Europe. In London Bridge, almost 500,000 people demonstrated for the Hamas. In France, as I saw in the movie, people are burning France flags. And United States, you know, for them, Israel is the little Satan. United States, for example, it's a big Satan. So it's a war against all the Judeo-Christian way of life, against the Western way of life, against humanity. And as fast as they will understand it, they won't have to pay the so heavy price that we paid in the 7th of October.
Well, you know it very well. You've been, you come first of all from a religious background. You are a modern Orthodox Jew, and then you have been serving in the army for 30 years, mostly among the secular people.
Yeah.
And, secular people don't understand the religious dimension. They think in terms of, okay, you give them good life, or you give them good opportunities, and they will be kind.
I don't think it's about secular or religious among the Jews, because all the Jews sanctify life. All the Jews prefer life. Our bless is shalom, peace. When we are meeting each other, we are blessing one each other, peace, hello,
Shalom.
Shalom, okay? We desire peace. We want peace. At the Declaration of Independence, what David Ben-Gurion said is that he's stretching his hand for peace to all the people, to all the region. We want peace, but we have to realize, we must understand that we are surrounded by people that prefer to give their life killing us rather than bringing good life for their kids. And until we will really understand it, we will continue to be in some kind of dream that They are like us. They want life.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking, to ask you, because I think when you warned Europe, when you warned the West about these impending dangers, I think this is exactly the problem, that they do not see the religious dimension of the fight, and they don't see that Hamas is a religious ideological movement.
All what they have to do is to open their eyes. To open their eyes. They are sleeping on their nose. It's happening today, not in their backyards. It's happening in the main streets, in London Bridge, in the mosques in London, in France, in Belgium, in Finland, in Norway, in all these places. There are a lot of radical Muslims that they have only one goal: to control the world, to bring the Sharia sets of laws, the Sharia laws. It's totally against all our Western way of life. And they can continue to sleep, but one day, I hope that it will never come, but one day maybe they will pay the so dreadful price that we paid 5 weeks ago.
There's been, of course, many authors, let's say French writer who wrote in 2015, who wrote a book about submission, that he kind of gives a picture of how Islam will take over France. So I think your warning is very, very relevant, because the Muslim immigration, as long as it is less than 10%, is not threatening, but the moment it becomes larger than that, it becomes a threat.
And we must say that it's not all Islam. Of course, not all the Muslims are so evil. Of course not.
Radical
but the
Islam.
radical Islam, it's the most dangerous phenomenon that's happening now in the world. And if they will continue to close their eyes, one day it will happen to them also. And they have to fight against it. And they must support our fight against it. It's for them that if we will win the Hamas, and we will win the Hamas, it's for them. It's for European countries. It's for United States. It's for the peace of all the world. And we must win this war. And the world must support us, and not demonstrate to stop us from winning this war.
Well, you've seen, of course, also that these people that are demonstrating for Hamas come from mostly a Muslim background. And of course, when they have the demonstrations, they burn the flags of England, they burn the flags of America.
I can tell you that in closed rooms, even the Muslim countries want us to win the Hamas, because the radical Islam is threatening the most countries that threatened by the radical Islam are the Islamic countries.
Well, as we well know, it's not only Israel that has borders with Gaza, it's Egypt. And Egypt, for some reason, is also closing its border with Gaza.
It's emphasized the difference between the Jewish people to the Arabs one, and our biggest dream is that all the Jews will come here to Israel, and we are the secure haven for all the Jews around the world. So if something happening in one of the countries, the Jews, of course, can come. For example, what happened in Ukraine. The first thing that we did is calling the Jews come back home, and no one is willing to get the Palestinians, Arabs from Gaza Strip. They are not brothers.
Well, but it's also, I think, that they are afraid of this Hamas type of radical Islam. And to continue with your thoughts.
So it just emphasize, what are they?
Yeah.
They are the pure evil. Even the Arab countries don't accept them. Even the Arab countries don't want to accept them as hostages refugees in their countries.
Yeah. But now, talking about Aliyah, it's amazing to see. We see a lot of interest. People from United States, from Western Europe, want to make Aliyah. I think they feel also that despite of this tragedy of October 7, Israel is still the haven, the safe haven for the Jewish people, whereas in other countries, who will protect them?
Yes, and what we are seeing now in a lot of countries is uprising anti-Semitic incidents. And Jews all over the world realize that Israel is the safe place for Jews. And this is the opportunity to ask our allies, our Christian allies all over the world, to demonstrate against these anti-Semitic incidents.
Yes, you know, we had also feedback from our friends. I was mentioning these different demonstrations that were actually taking place for Israel, supporting Israel. There was one in Naples, Florida, in the United States, and in
Washington. And,
many.
Yeah.
So it's so encouraging to see this.
Yes.
So dear friends, we really appreciate your help. We really appreciate every time you go into the public places, you lift Israeli flags. Every time you post something that you support Israel, please pray that our hostages would be released. Please pray that Israeli government would have the wisdom not to, agree with humiliating conditions from Hamas. We will win this war, but we need your support. And remember, those who pray for the peace of Jerusalem will prosper. Shalom from Jerusalem.
Shalom from Jerusalem.